Hello. Okay, so the audio on this video is going to be pretty shocking because the engine noise and the tapping and all that kind of thing. But anyway, the point is, I'm starting a new mini video series about the essential things that I found out, or I needed to know, or I would like to pass on to you. The essentials of van life. Now, this is not everything that you need. This is not the most comprehensive list of things, but these are things that I figured would be good to tell you if you were to ask me about things that you should know. Now, I do get asked a lot about that kind of thing. So here's some of my tips and some of my ideas. Number one for me is downsizing. Now, downsizing for me was in some ways the most difficult thing, but in other ways actually quite easy. I had a lot of stuff. I had 30 pairs of trainers. I had big TVs, everything. I had everything that I could ever need really. I worked hard and gathered a lot of possessions. So the first things to go, when I first contemplated moving into the van, or when I first came to move into the van actually, the first things that I got rid of were the electronics. So TVs, PlayStation, laptop, computer, all that went. Bye Felicia, ain't coming back. So obviously those things as well are quite expensive, so even selling them second hand helped me raise some money to live. So I got rid of things that I could sell to put a bit of money in the bank. Now the next things to go were things like clothing and ornaments that I'd collected. Now I'd collected lots of things. I was a bit of a hoarder really. I was collecting old bicycle frames from the 90s and things like that that meant a lot to me at the time. I collected wooden statues from various parts of the world, things like that really. Anyway, I collected a lot of stuff, and for the most part, whilst I lived in a house and moved around different houses, those were the things that made my house feel homely also. So they are quite precious to me, were quite precious to me. But actually, what I said to myself was, do I really need this? Is this a want or a need? Two different things. So everything went, everything. Wooden statues, bike frames, shoes. I think I still kept 5 pairs of shoes, which is massively excessive. Nobody really needs 5 pairs of shoes, and especially nobody needs 30 pairs of shoes. But they were just things that I collected over the time. Anyway, so clothing, gave it away. Shoes, gave them away. Electrics, sold. I did whatever I could to raise a bit of extra cash, a bit of extra money, and selling things really helped. So one thing I will say though is that a friend of mine has just completed a 30-day minimalist challenge where on day 1 you would get rid of 1 thing, day 2 you would get rid of 2 things, day 3 get rid of 3 things, all the way up to 30 days. So on day 30 you will give away or get rid of 30 of your possessions, right? Now that by the end of the 30 days is a lot of stuff to get rid of, and I think that is a brilliant way of dealing with it step by step, and it's rather than just one day having nothing. Anyway, you prioritize what you really need and things that you just want because you've had them for a long time. So that was the biggest thing. Living in a van was difficult at first because I lived in such a small van. There was absolutely no room for anything other than essentials. Now I've got a slightly bigger van now, and some of the things that I kept, I've been able to get out and display or hang or screw to the wall. And some of those things are the skulls that I've collected over the years. In particular, my baboon skull that I collected when I was in Africa. So it means a lot to me because it was a reminder of a place that I went. Reminds me of travelling, and I wanted it, so I kept it. So anyway, so moving into a bigger van meant that I can take some things out of storage that I had, and have them out in the van. Now, speaking of storage, this was another thing. So I had bikes that I didn't want to get rid of. Alice had a bike she didn't want to get rid of. This is very different also, travelling with a child. My daughter has collected a lot of toys and toys that she loves and things that mean a lot to her. I can't just get rid of that. That's not my decision to make. That's her decision to make. I put all her stuff in storage, and when we've had opportunity, we've taken some bits of that out of storage and put it in the van. For the most part, most of that now is at her mum's house, so she can still play with those things. She can still use whatever it is she used to use, just not when she's with me. And also, what it has meant is that I've had to buy her more. She's managed to say that she doesn't have this anymore, she doesn't have that anymore, so I've had to buy her more toys, so she got more toys out of the deal. So storage is a good option. Now I would suggest, if I was you, I would suggest putting all your things into storage first. Live in your van, see how things go. Don't sell anything just yet, because van life might not be for you. There have been times where I've just thought about jacking it all in, just moving into an apartment and living a normal life, but I've continued with it. But put your things in storage and then gradually get rid of those things over a few months. And then if you do decide that van life isn't for you, you've still got all your stuff, because at the end of the day, I'd still have to buy a new cooker, and I'd still have to buy a washing machine, and I'd still have to buy a TV and all that kind of stuff if I moved into a house. So don't get rid of everything just yet. Just wait and see how things go. That's what I would suggest. Even if that storage is just your mate's garage or somebody's spare room, just put all your stuff there and keep hold of it. Because the other thing that I did as well was I left everything behind: pots, pans, cutlery, knives, glasses, crockery, all that kind of stuff. Just left it. Didn't want it. But that left me with a problem when I needed that stuff, so I had to go buy it all again. So I wouldn't have done it that way if I had a chance. I would do it a different way. I would put it all in storage and know it's there if I need it. And actually, a few home comforts go a long way when you live in a van. Some of the things I've just said that I've hung up or had lying around in the van mean a lot to me. So it is nice to have some things. Don't give up everything. You don't have to give up everything to live in a van. You just have to give up sort of the more bulky, unnecessary items. So hopefully that gives you a few little tips and advice and an insight into what I did and why I did it that way. And that concludes part 1 of the essentials of living in a van, of van life, #vanlife. And I'll see you again soon with another tip. Again, I'm going to go on from the beginning, what I did and why I did it and things like that, and try and help you understand that a bit more, and hopefully you can take some advice from that. Anyway, thank you very much for watching as usual. Thank you very much for your support as usual. I'll see you all soon.